I thought I was just applying for a job. I had no idea I was walking into a house where love had died, where silence lived in every corner, and where 3 broken hearts were waiting for someone to make them whole again. My name is Sophie, and this is how I found my family in the most unexpected place. At 22, I desperately needed work. Good work that could change my life. The newspaper ad was simple. Wealthy family seeks live-in nanny for 2 young children. When I arrived at the address, I stood frozen before the most magnificent house I'd ever seen. My finger trembled as I pressed the doorbell, knowing this moment would change everything. The door opened, revealing a man who looked like he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. Tall and striking, with dark hair and eyes that held a pain so deep it took my breath away. This was Daniel, though he barely managed to introduce himself. His voice was hollow, empty of any warmth or hope. As he led me through rooms filled with expensive furniture and haunting silence, I noticed them everywhere photographs of a breathtakingly beautiful woman who never smiled. She gazed out from golden frames like a melancholy angel, watching over this tomb of a home. Her presence was everywhere, yet the house felt more empty because of it. Then I met them, the twins who would steal my heart. Oliver and Emma, 7 years old, with their father's dark eyes and their mother's delicate features. They stood like little statues, so quiet I wondered if they'd forgotten how to be children. When Daniel introduced me as their new caregiver, they didn't even blink. The silence in that moment was deafening. Daniel's words hit me like a physical blow. Their mother had died in a car accident exactly 1 year ago. Looking at these 3 survivors, I realized I wasn't just taking a job, I was stepping into a family that had forgotten how to live. That I needed this opportunity, and something deep inside told me they needed me too. My new life began in a small room within this vast, echoing mansion. I cleaned, cooked, and cared for Oliver and Emma. But mostly I watched 3 people existing instead of living. The children moved through their days like ghosts, never laughing, rarely speaking. Daniel buried himself in work, eating meals alone, building walls around his heart that seemed impossible to scale. That slowly, impossibly, tiny cracks began to appear in those walls. One evening, I was helping the twins with an art project when something magical happened. Emma giggled. Then Oliver joined in, and suddenly they were laughing together like the children they were meant to be. I didn't notice Daniel standing in the doorway at first, but when I looked up, his face was transformed. They haven't laughed like that since before, he whispered, unable to finish the sentence. For the first time, he was looking at me not as the help, but as the person who had brought light back into his children's world. My heart hammered against my ribs as something shifted between us in that moment. Then she arrived like a storm cloud on a sunny day. Victoria, Amelia's older sister, swept into the house wearing designer clothes and an expression of pure disdain. She watched my every move with calculating eyes, criticizing how I interacted with the children. They need discipline and structure, not constant entertainment, she declared, as if love and laughter were weaknesses. But it was in the kitchen where Victoria revealed her true venom. Cornering me while I washed dishes, she leaned in close with a cruel smile. "You think you can waltz in here and replace my sister? Let me enlighten you about this perfect family you think you're healing." Daniel was never happy with Amelia. He was cold, distant, always traveling for business, while she withered away alone in this beautiful prison. So don't fool yourself into thinking you can warm his heart. He doesn't have one to warm. Her words cut deeper than any blade. Standing alone in that kitchen, I wondered if I'd been living in a fantasy. Was Daniel's grief real? Or was he simply incapable of love? Had I misread every stolen glance, every moment of connection? Victoria's poison began to work its way into my heart, making me question everything I thought I'd seen. Victoria's visits became more frequent, each one designed to remind me of my place. She would look at me with contempt and tell Daniel, "These children need a real mother, not a girl who thinks life is all games and fun." The shame burned through me like fire, making me want to disappear into the walls. But then Daniel surprised me. His voice was firm, protective, as he said, "Sophie brings joy to my children's lives, Victoria. She gives them what they need, most hope." When he looked at me in that moment, I saw something I'd never dared to imagine. This wasn't a boss defending his employee. This was a man standing up for the woman he was beginning to care about. After Victoria stormed out, Daniel and I remained in the charged silence she'd left behind. "You're a miracle, Sophie," he said softly, stepping closer. "You've brought my family back to life." When his lips touched mine, gentle and uncertain, the world shifted on its axis. We both knew in that instant that everything had changed, that we'd crossed a line there was no going back from. The next morning, Victoria burst in without warning, demanding to know where Daniel was. When he emerged from his office and smiled at me, really smiled for the first time since I'd known him, Victoria's face contorted with rage. "What have you done to him?" she screamed at me. "You little gold digger, using a grieving man's vulnerability to steal my sister's husband in her own home." Her words shattered something inside me. This had been Amelia's house, Amelia's life, Amelia's family. What right did I have to any of it? Through my tears, I whispered to Daniel, "I'm sorry. I'll pack my things right now." I ran upstairs, my heart breaking with every step. But Daniel followed me. In my small room, he took my hands and said the words that changed my life forever. "Don't listen to her, Sophie. Victoria was right about one thing: my marriage wasn't the love story she pretends it was. Amelia and I were strangers living parallel lives. When she died, I grieved not for lost love, but for the family we never truly were. I was existing, not living, until you walked through my door and brought color back to my world." His eyes filled with tears as he continued, You made me remember what it feels like to be alive, to hope, to love. That kiss wasn't a mistake. The only mistake was waiting so long to tell you how I feel. And falling in love with you, Sophie. Please don't leave us. Help me build the real family I never had. 6 months have passed, and this house has been reborn. Laughter echoes through rooms that once knew only silence. Victoria no longer visits, unable to bear witness to our happiness. My small room has become a guest space. I now share the master bedroom with the man who owns my heart. Daniel's eyes shine with love instead of sorrow. And Oliver and Emma call me Mom with voices full of joy. Today, Daniel takes my hand and asks, "Are you happy, Sophie?" I look around at our home, at the man beside me, at the 2 children who have become my whole world. More than I ever dreamed possible, I whisper. More than I ever dared to hope for. I came here 6 months ago as a desperate young woman looking for a job. Soon I'll become Daniel's wife, and Oliver and Emma will officially be mine. The journey wasn't easy, love never is. And it taught me that healing can happen in the most unexpected places. That broken hearts can become whole again. And that sometimes the family you choose is more powerful than the one you're born into. Love doesn't always arrive with fanfare, sometimes it creeps in quietly. One laugh, one smile, one moment of hope at a time, until suddenly you realize you're home.